about biochar is it has anionic exchange
Yeah,
capacity.
the tropical soils.
Yeah, which is a big deal because if you think about it, a lot of our nutrients are anions, nitrate, not phosphate, but
So the anions are attracted to the biochar?
yeah.
There's-
We always talk about cation exchange
Right.
capacity with soil, but
That
it
would
actually
be
it can. Again,
Okay.
biochar is all about how you make it, and the people are selling stuff out there that's really fly ash. It's not biochar. Biochar, the name means it's biologically active, and not everything they sell is. So that's a big part of what we're doing, is just trying to go through and figure out what properties make it work. It's in reality, a lot of stuff isn't all that complicated. What's held it back is there just isn't a lot of funding to do this work because nobody adopted biochar. They had money, so that's it. But we're making some progress, and it's obvious that different biochars have different traits. But the kind that the whole Amazonian story I told you, that stuff they call terra preta. They did do work on it, and it has cation and anion exchange. And we had a student, Lizzie, who's not here, but she had plots on up the way where she had lysimeters in to see how much nutrients leached out of the water profile, out of the root zone. And basically, if you add biochar, less leaches out. So it's holding.
Nitrates, maybe, right?
Nitrates, I think it was all three: nitrates, potassium, and
Okay.
phosphate. I think. Yeah. So it's going on. It's doing something. It's the other problem with it is people have hyped it up so much that it's
But
never
you were
gonna
saying
be.
that so there's inconsistencies in the biochar. That's a real issue. It sounds like
The way people make, I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
could
mean,
make a
you're
batch.
Not sure what you're buying.
Yeah, that's it. And then compost tea is another thing I worked on.
That's it.
And it's kind of got the same deal.
Right.
And they'll change the way they make it and not tell you. Turns out that we did work with a lot of compost teas, and I ignored it for years because I heard all these stories, and I just figured this is another one of those things that it's going to change the world, and then you find out 3 months later it doesn't do anything. But what we did find out was if you make compost tea properly, it can do a lot of things. And furthermore, some of those compost teas have a lot of plant hormones in them, and it's actually a growth regulator effect that it's doing. And so if they make it the same way, dependably, and they're doing what you thought it was doing, it can be a great thing. Biochar is the exact same deal. And you can make it yourself. You can go on YouTube and you can find instructions for making it making a kiln for a bunch of tin cans. You can make a small amount yourself if you want it, or a larger amount.
And Mike at the Cool Planet booth will actually teach you how to do it.
Yeah, he will.
And up there at the booth, he said they use white pine waste, and that should be fairly consistent on that product, right? Would you say?
You need to use the
using
same
the same
feedstock,
feedstock,
same pyrolysis conditions. So you want to know that they're going to heat it up about the same.
Well, how would one know that?
If you're doing the same technique to make it,
Buy the product.
and you
No,
don't change.
no, I mean, if you buy the product.
Can a soils
Yeah.
lab do some kind of test and give you a report on maybe? At least the
their
anion
soil
exchange
control lab
capacity?
was doing that, actually, but Frank Shields retired, so I don't know what they're doing. It's a lot of the anion exchange thing seems to be something we see with more than biochar. So water holding,
Could be.
it doesn't extend over as many. What the other deal is, or at least there's a very well-known chemical engineer PhD, Hugh McLaughlin, done a lot of work with biochar. What he swears up and down it's all about is you're taking wood or something that has a cellulose in it, and you're getting rid of everything but that carbon structure of the cellulose. And once you have that, you create all these other pores and all these other exchange sites, and that's what's doing it all. So if your feedstock has a lot of plant material in it, you should be able to get that cellulose structure if you do it right. The problem you get into is sometimes they'll go to things like biosolids, sewage essentially. If the population is principally vegetarians, believe it or not, they've done this research. If the population is principally vegetarians, you will get better biochar than if they're like us and eat all sorts of crap.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good talking point for becoming a vegetarian.
There you go.
Make your
There
own
you go.
bios.
But it sounds kind of funny, but LA County's already doing this. They're trying to do it on a big scale because there's all this legislation coming down the pipe, like you probably all know, where we can't send green waste to the landfill. So we got to do something with our green waste, and
Well, they got the same problem with the biosolids out of treatment plants.
Yeah.
coming down the pipe.
Them up in the fields in
No, they don't.
Fresno and Bakersfield, and they don't want them taking them out in the deserts anymore.
Yeah, nobody wants it. So then when it's, California's a great, not in my backyard, NIMBY state. That's how we are. So we all think this stuff's a great idea, compost and all that. You just don't want it where you are. And so what are you going to do? So one of the things they're looking at doing, and China's already doing this, is taking the biosolids and just charring them. So they make biochar. They get some energy out of it, and it's a lot smaller volume and weight to deal with. So then when they want to dispose of it, it's easier.
It kills the pathogens.
Yeah, that's another good point. And you're probably going to have an easier time getting somebody to take a load of biochar than a load of, So the Chinese are doing it. We're starting to do it. It's happening.
Very interesting.
Good
Thank
seeing
you, guys.
Kathy.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Mary.